Speaking of Rob Bell, we understand he's on the line right now. Delegate Bell, good to have you with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure. You have worked on the Tebow bill so hard for so long.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to Governor McAuliffe. Congratulations. And what is the governor going to do?
We are hopeful. Let me just so everybody appreciates this. It wasn't just mine. I've done it for 6 years. And every year we've gotten either we didn't lose any ground or we gained a little bit. But it goes back much further than that. Senator Carrico, who was a delegate at the time, he had it right before me, and we found one from 1995. Dick Fisher, who I've never met.
Dick Fisher
was a delegate from Northern Virginia, and he had the bill in 1995.
Wow.
And finally, for the first time in the history of the Commonwealth, it got out of the House, got out of the Senate. And if anybody's listening, what it would be homeschoolers who are passing their tests and doing what they're supposed to do and live in the right district and are the right age could participate in sports and other competitive activities, which are things like debate, band, choir, at the local high school. 29 states have it. Virginia would be the 30th. It finally passed for the first time. So it has been transmitted to the governor. I am lobbying his people. I'm asking everybody who thinks this is a good idea to shoot the governor an email and tell him there's only 6,000 students it would affect statewide. There's about 34,000 homeschooled kids, but only 6,000 are high school age. And so this is certainly not a big bill for everybody in the Commonwealth, but it's an awfully big bill for those parents.
The argument in opposition to this, I never really understood it, and it's a lot of scare tactics, Delegate Bell. And we saw some of that yesterday in the debate on the House, and Peter Farrell, your colleague, pointed some of it out, but this argument that, well, if a local jurisdiction decides that it's okay, then that high school might not be able to participate in intercollegiate athletics. I mean,
she's got it exactly wrong, and I've told her that, and I don't know why the delegate who's opposed to this keeps saying it, but what the issue is this. We don't have a law that says homeschoolers can't participate. What happens is the VHSL, which is sort of like the NCAA for high schools, they have a rule, and if you want to be part of the VHSL, you got to, if you want to play football with another team, you got to abide by their rules, and the rules say no homeschoolers. So that's the issue. So the bill reads a little complicated. It says you can't join an organization that discriminates against homeschoolers in this way. Now, we still say that we've even included an extra sentence to make everybody real clear on what we were trying to do. Each county can still make its own rules. So you're going to have some counties, I assume, that still don't want homeschoolers. What they can't do is tell other counties that they can't have them. So if Greene County wants them and Madison doesn't, right now, neither county get them. Greene County gets to dictate to Madison what happens. If this goes through, what will happen is Madison will have them, Greene won't. I might have just reversed it, sorry. And they'll be the ones who play. Now, I do think that 5 years from now, all the counties that are refusing to let them play will say, my gosh, it seems to be working okay for Madison. What's the big deal? So I'm not trying to hide the ball. I do think this will lead to step by step, every county in the state allowing homeschoolers to participate.
There's absolutely no argument to vote against this bill because the parents of the students that are homeschooling them have made that decision. It's legal. They've made that choice. They have that right. They're still paying property taxes. They're still funding the school in whatever district they're in. They're still paying for their athletics. They're paying for all that. And actually, there's a reverse argument, Delegate Bell, that says any child that is home, that their parents decide that they're going to go the homeschool route, which is their choice,
right, or
they go the private school route or the parochial school route, Catholic school like mine are in, that actually is a net benefit for the public school system because it's a child that would be taking up a seat, taking up time, taking up a teacher's time, taking up supplies is out.
Oh, it's a huge savings.
It's a huge savings.
We talked about it. My son has special needs, and last year we homeschooled. Now, we haven't. We've gone back and forth each year according to what's best for him, but last year those costs for tutoring and other stuff were stuff we paid for, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not unhappy about it. What I mean is that for last year at least, we did not, the costs for his education were not being borne by the system. And the same is true here. I mean, you have 34,000 kids whose parents are taking, the Rosetta Stone for education, everybody says it, is how do you get the parents involved? If the parents are involved, they'll be successful. Private, public charter, homeschooling, all of those kids do great if the parents are involved. And then flip it, if the parents are hostile or not involved, it's almost impossible to fix. No matter what curriculum you use, the right testing, the right building, it doesn't matter if you can't get the parents engaged. These are parents who, could not be more involved if you forced them at gunpoint. They are the homeschool parents. We should be, treasuring it and lauding it and saying, this is great. Thank you for taking such a direct, immediate role in your kids' education. And it works. Most of it works. The one thing they can't do are some of the big team endeavors. And so if you talk to homeschoolers, Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, even Richmond, many of them have options for sports and other things. But if you go out in the country, the only game in town is at the high school. And so if we certainly have kids who said, look, I was homeschooling, it was the right fit for me, but I want to pursue a scholarship in college, or I want to play competitive soccer, or I've always wanted to play football. And so the parents are put to this terrible choice, which is to pursue the kid's athletic or other extracurricular endeavor. They've got to do column A. If they want to do what's best for his academics, they do column B. And I remember people keep writing me to say, they need to make a choice. I said, the only reason they have to make a choice is because you're making them make the choice. Why not let them have both? That's what the bill does. It's not. If we were the first state to do it, you would say it was radical and strange. 29 other states have done it. No state that does it has ever gone back. So for all the supposed problems, none of them have ever said, well, this isn't working, let's get rid of it. I honestly think that this will be, they'll look back 5 years from now and say, my gosh, what a lot of talk. Why did it take so long? Right.
Why didn't we do that? Delegate, I want to get to charter schools. That's the education. This is another thing. I cannot get the liberals' opposition to, one, choice. In order to get choice, you have to have more options. Number two, here's what dumbfounds me. You have students, Delegate Bell, right now that are trapped in a failing school system. They do not have the resources to get out. And so they have no other option but to stay in a failed system. You put in a charter opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And then there's an option for some of these students to escape their situation.
Yeah.
Why are the liberals so opposed to this? I cannot figure it out.
This is a moral issue, and it goes like this. We have school choice in Virginia. We have the ability to pick among multiple choices in different places and pick what's right for our kid, ... if you're rich.
Yes.
In other words,
right.
If you have the resources, you've got private schools, you've got public schools, you have tutoring at home, you can do all of these things. Meanwhile, there is a large portion of the people who live in Virginia who don't have any choices, who, if their local school isn't working for their child, too bad, so sad. And this is not to take away from the effort of the people in those schools, because they are facing challenges that most suburban schools do not, but we do not have the choices other states have. And what happened was, when we passed our charter school law, and this was before I got here, so this was probably 15, 20 years ago, we said that the entire decision will be made by the local school boards. And I don't have any doubt that that was done with good intention, and I probably would have voted for it, so this is not to point fingers. We have had time since then to see how it works, and the answer is it doesn't. So while students in Washington, D.C., just across the river, students in California, Massachusetts, Vermont, if you want to pick the liberal ones, or Texas, Utah, if you want to pick the conservative ones, they all have dozens or even over 1,000 charter schools out in California. Virginia has 7. There are 7 charter schools in Virginia. And it's just, you can talk high theory all you want about where the control ought to be and where it should come from. And again, when this bill was passed, I probably would have been very sympathetic to that. Why do we want to take this away from the local school boards? Well, we've had a chance to see how it works, and it just doesn't. The proof is in the pudding that given a chance to deny a charter school, they do. They will. They have.
They're going to deny.
We are left with having to come with
time.
another option. Now, what has happened in other states, this is nothing unusual. The local school boards make it very, very difficult for charter schools to be launched.
Right.
Is you have an alternate route through the state's Board of Education. That's what this would do. And all of the issues about where and how and when would be worked out by the General Assembly, but the first step is we have to have the authority to do it, and to do that we need to change the Constitution. So this is a long way to say the first step is a constitutional amendment. It has to pass twice. It has to pass 1 year, then an election, then a second year, and then it would go to the voters. This was the first year. And like Tebow, we have never gotten this far before. This is an idea that has come up year after year. Opponents have killed it. And we had a sort of lucky sequence of people being sick and people being out and people who were opposed giving it a second look, and it slipped out of the Senate essentially by 1 vote. And then the House endorsed it with a stronger margin. There will be an election next year, and so a new Senate in particular, more than the House, a new Senate will have to take it up. And we lose a couple of our favorable votes. If they're not replaced by favorable votes, we won't succeed.
Well, and it should be a campaign issue as well, no question. Because look, if I believe that if this amendment got on the general ballot, that it would pass in the state of Virginia by better than 2-1.
That's what every poll says.
We're talking 65, 68%.
And we're not doing it for political reasons, but by the by, it also happens to be politically popular.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is because it gives parents choice. And I just want to frame this for our listeners out there. There are 7 charter schools in the Commonwealth. I moved here from a North Fulton County suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. In my suburb, okay, which is North Fulton County, we lived in Roswell, Georgia. It's like Roswell, Alpharetta, Milton, Sandy Springs is called North Fulton. We had 7 charters in just my suburbs of one little section of Georgia. And so school children had unbelievable choice, and they could escape failing schools. And I'll tell you the other thing it did. All the public schools, they had to step up because there was a drain, and it's real. And then the entire system improved. I mean, this is the biggest no-brainer out. Go ahead.
Well, and I would encourage anybody who is interested or not sure or doesn't know what this is like to visit a charter school in D.C. And if you're in Hampton Roads, it's too far, but if you're in Northern Virginia, and what you see are it's just excited, bought in, teachers and staff and the principal, and this is their endeavor, and they have enormous freedom to try to figure out what they want to do, and they're trying out curriculum, they're trying different things, and it's not true that they're all successful. I believe this is a great choice, but obviously they don't all succeed. But you had a system in D.C. that was failing so many of their students, and now the parents are clamoring to get in the lotteries and get into the better schools. And you walk into these schools, and it's extraordinary. I mean, it is an emotional endeavor. You will walk in and say, "Oh my gosh, I can see why parents are waiting in line to get their daughters or sons into the school."
You know what? You've hit the nail on the head. You go into some of these, and it will almost make you cry based on what you've seen. And one of the arguments that I heard in opposition to this is, well, it's not fair that everybody can't get in, that there's a lottery. I mean, what the heck kind of logic is that? So let's open the system up so they can continue to expand so there doesn't have to be a lottery.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so insane.
I mean, first off, the lottery is the right way to do it as a little bitty opt-in for the siblings who are already, sort of this. But essentially, it is so valuable and so sought after, you have to have a lottery to get it. But it's not like the Virginia lottery. There's only so much money. We could have enough charters so there was no lottery.
I mean, that's the argument. Just
say yes.
Just say yes. Expand the system so there wouldn't be a lottery, so that everybody has the choices there. But I just want my listeners to think this. One of the arguments in opposition of charter schools is that the lottery system is no fair, and so let's just stop all of it. It's crazy.